MP to all cars. Armed robbery on security vehicle
Juliet
now.
4 to MP.
4 men.
Of watch.
Juno 1 to MP. Disturbance in High Street. Gang of youths
MP
fighting
to
with
Golf
knives.
1-1.
Request assistance, over.
Suspects on premises.
I thought it was made clear to both of you that the Commissioner deplores car chases through the London streets.
It was a big robbery, sir. A getaway car. And it was night, sir. Not many people in the street.
His displeasure includes nighttime, Tully.
Yes, sir.
So what do we have? 2 cars trying to head them off and your car on their tail. What then?
They tried to turn into Milden Street, misjudged it, went through the hoarding onto the building site.
And by the time you got there, they were out of the car and away.
We know who they are, sir. The 4 of them are known to us. Harvey, Wright, Keller and Eddie Dean.
But they got away. And this report is all we have.
Yes, sir.
And what have you got to say, Sergeant?
We did identify them, sir. Got sight of them.
And you arrested them?
No, sir, we went after them, but they were too quick. We still have the car and forensic.
The forensic report is negative. Lots of smashed glass, nothing else.
Then all we have is a load of alibis. By the time we got to Harvey's house, he was already in bed with his wife. Quick work. His wife and daughter swore blind he'd been home all night. Had gone to bed at 11 o'clock. And there he was, in bed.
And Wright?
He didn't go home. It took us an hour to find him. He was in an all-night club, playing cards. 4 pals swore he'd been with them since 10 o'clock.
4 witnesses?
All of them known men with form, but as you say, sir, 4 witnesses.
Keller?
Well, he was the best. Must have fixed it in advance. A birthday party in his house, about 20 guests. Lights, music. Couldn't hear ourselves speak.
And everyone said he'd been there all the time.
Yes, sir. We got there at 3 o'clock just as the party was breaking up.
And Eddie Dean?
Couldn't find him at all. But what was the point? We couldn't say he was one of the 4 if the other 3 could prove they weren't there.
Then you'll have to break the alibis, won't you?
Yes, sir.
Otherwise you engaged in a high-speed street chase, caused a car accident, all for nothing. Well, unless we can have something to show for it, there's going to be an inquiry.
Yes, sir.
Right, that's it.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Ever feel you're not wanted?
Yeah. Like a tea?
Yes, if the machine's working. You got any 5p's?
Yeah, here's 2.
For once, the thing hasn't jammed.
Mr. Roach was pretty tough.
Yeah.
What were we supposed to do?
We were supposed to nick 'em, collar all 4 with the plunder, bring 'em back and charge 'em. We didn't. So he has to account for the car being wrecked.
It was a stolen car.
Stolen cars have got civilian owners. They want to know why their car was wrecked. If we'd nicked 'em, OK, we didn't. So he has to offer a scalp.
Yeah, ours. Watch out, it's hot.
Oh, yeah.
So, do we go after them again?
What's the point? If we couldn't nail 'em at the time, we won't get 'em later. Forensic was negative, no prints. CID, Sergeant Brook. Who do you want? Just a minute. It's for you.
DC Tully, who is it?
It's Steve, Mr. Tully. Do you remember me, Steve Gray?
Oh yeah, sure.
Well, you said if I heard anything to get in touch. Well, I have.
Do you want to meet?
Well, you know the pizza parlour in Bridge Street? I'll be waiting down at the end.
Right, in 20 minutes.
Who's that?
Steve Gray, remember him? Young housebreaker, he said might make a snout if we handled him right.
You come up with something?
Well, he says so. He wants to see me.
OK, push off then.
Thanks.
Yeah, Tully, watch him. Make sure what he's selling's genuine.
Yes, Sarge.
Got a moment, Dave?
What more work?
No, something you'll like. A small note of commendation from the commander.
Oh.
On the way you dealt with the dips in the underground the other week.
Oh, he was pleased, was he?
Well, he thought it was neat and tidy. Whole team in the dock. It's how he likes it. Said to tell you.
Well, somebody up there loves me.
Yeah.
Mr. Tully,
there you are.
it's quiet down this end. We can talk. I've ordered your coffee.
Thanks.
Fancy your pizza? They're good.
Don't like Italian stuff. Coffee will do. Now, you wanted to see me?
Well, to meet you, really. More to warn you in advance, Mr. Tully, that I've got something good for you.
Like what?
Well, some big houses being done up by the park.
Who's doing them? You?
Me? You kidding? I'm talking about the big houses up there, with alarm systems and all that. That's out my class.
Yeah, we know. So who is doing them?
One coffee. Right, love?
Thanks, Tom. No, I was saying.
Well, I think I know, and you wouldn't believe it.
Try me.
Not now. Well, I'm sure, Mr. Tully. We have to wait till I'm sure.
Steve, don't waste my time. If you have a name,
No, it
then
wouldn't help you. You go back to the station, check, and say I was off my head. I've got to be sure, so just trust me, Mr. Tully. For a couple of days, it'll do you a lot of good.
Yeah, all right.
I hear you had a bit of a smash-up.
Who told you?
It's all round North London. Milden Street, wasn't it?
Yeah, but get it right. Our car didn't get written off, all right?
Yeah, but I'll tell you something else. You couldn't find Eddie Dean after, could you? Do you want to know why? See, while you were looking for him, he was at the hospital.
The hospital?
A car crash. He got hurt. He went straight to the hospital to get out your way, didn't he?
Hurt bad?
Nah. A few stitches on his face, cut his hand, had to get the blood stopped. Didn't think of the hospital, did you?
No. Where is he now?
He's back at home, isn't he? Not showing himself.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah?
Sergeant Brook, Eddie, can we come in?
Yeah, why not? And bring your pal.
He's my DC. I don't think you've met.
Not socially, no. And I ain't seen you for a time neither.
Something wrong with your memory, Eddie? Saw you last Thursday, wasn't it?
In a pub?
No, Thursday morning, remember? A crashed car. And before we had time for a chat, you were hot-footing it along Milden Street, off to the hospital, I believe.
Me?
You were in bad company, Eddie. Harvey, Keller and Alan Wright.
Oh, yeah, Alan mentioned that, yeah. You was asking him about some accident or other.
Not an accident, a robbery.
You're joking.
What happened to your hand, Eddie?
Oh, I cut it, didn't I? Putting up a shelf.
A bit of do-it-yourself?
Yeah, screwdriver slipped.
Did you cut your face as well? Stitches, aren't they?
Yeah, I was careless.
Went down to the hospital, did you? When, Eddie? Thursday?
Yeah, it will be Thursday, yeah.
We can check, you know.
Well, do that, yeah. I'll show you the shelf I was putting up. It's in the kitchen.
Oh. Putting it up at 1:30 in the morning? Always do it yourself then, do you?
Yeah, don't sleep much. Here, this is it.
It doesn't look like it's just been put up. It's covered in grease.
I've just had a fry-up, ain't I?
Oh.
I told you I put it up Thursday, so I cut my hand, see?
Ooh, it looks nasty.
Yeah, I have to watch it. It still keeps bleeding.
Let's have a look at it.
No, it's all right. Don't bother.
It's okay, Eddie. DC Tully knows his first aid. Let him have a look. He'll put it right for you. Does it worry you?
No, if he wants to see it.
And while he's doing it, do you mind if I have a look around?
Well, don't make a mess. The missus hates the place being mucked up.
Oh, where is she?
At work, where else? And the kids are at school. And she expects the place clean when they come home.
I'll be careful.
Now sit down, Eddie. Let's have a look at this. It won't hurt.
Better not. Hey, go easy.
Yeah. Ooh, it's still bleeding a bit.
Yes. Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, I should get that seen too. You need a new dressing.
How's it look?
Slight bleeding, Sarge. Just a few cuts with stitches. But it'll heal up if he looks after it.
A do-it-yourself job?
Yeah, it could be.
Of course it was.
Hey, do you mind if I take some of these clothes, Eddie?
Why, for God's sake?
Just to make some tests.
You'll try anything.
Well, the bloke we saw running away was wearing a jacket, jeans and trainer shoes like these. Do you mind?
You're wasting your time.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know if I am. Well, thanks, Eddie. Be seeing you.
Yeah. And make sure I get those clothes back. They cost money.
You think it was worth it, Sarge?
Well, forensics said no fingerprints, but lots of broken glass flying around. Get his clothes labelled.
The broken glass. Yes, I thought about that. When I was fixing his bandages, I took a bit of the dressing with a blood sample on it.
Good thinking. It all helps. Pack them carefully. Do a note to the lab and I'll be back in a minute.
Right.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
The car crash. We're making some progress. The reason we didn't find Eddie Dean, he was cut and ran straight to the hospital to get it fixed.
You've seen him?
Yeah, guess what? He's in the alibi business too. Says he cut himself putting up a shelf. Can I have the lab report and the file, sir?
Yes, I think I've got it somewhere.
Right, Tom.
Oh, yeah, here it is. You've had the commander sent down a note of commendation?
Yes, sir. Jim told me.
Yeah. Well, earn yourself another one. He's now worried about housebreaking. The ones up by the park. He'd like to see them cleared up.
Oh, it's down to me, sir.
Yes. He'll keep you in the commander's good books after what happened on Thursday. So you can take that file as well.
Yes, sir. There we are. File on the robbery and a file on housebreaking.
Housebreaking?
Yeah, I've been lumbered. The ones by the park.
Oh? Steve Gray was talking about that.
The commander's interested as well. Do you want to have a look?
Yeah. It's like he said. Alarm systems, big houses. Said we never guess who's doing it.
Does Steve know?
Says he might know tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, and tomorrow and tomorrow. Yeah, I know promises. Right, let's get on with what we do have.
I've packed up Eddie's stuff. Shall I send it off?
No, it'll take too long. I'll take him to the lab myself, use a bit of charm. See if I can get them looked at today.
When will he get back?
Well, it depends on my luck. I'll phone you. Any luck, Miss Wilson?
Just a minute. Let me switch this off. Now, in the first check, we found loads of broken glass, but no prints. Nothing evident that we thought could be helpful. No bloodstains. But as you see, we've made a more thorough investigation of the clothing.
Have you found anything?
A few things. In the fibres of the jacket and around the knees of the trousers, we found some tiny, very tiny slivers of glass, see? And in the sole of one of the trainer shoes, there are 2 slightly larger pieces embedded.
Yeah.
It's identical with the glass from the windscreen.
So you can say that he was in the car?
No. There are thousands of these windscreens around.
Any blood?
Well, let's take his clothing again. There's some small spots of blood on the right trouser leg, a smear on the jacket sleeve, and some spots on both of his shoes.
Yeah, well, the trouble is he can account for blood being on his clothes. Was there any in the car?
2 very tiny spots. One on the edge of the front passenger door, the other on the floor by the door.
His blood in the car?
His blood group. It's B. Lots of people have B.
Oh, I see. It's like the windscreen then, too many. Defence would have an easy time.
I'm afraid so.
Yeah, well, what about the piece of dressing I gave you?
It means very little. If it's his dressing, it has to be his blood. Why don't you try the hospital? They have his records, time of admission and cause of injury.
Yeah, well, hospitals don't like talking about patients, breach of confidence and all that. They'll do it if we have a strong enough case, and we don't.
Well, look, I'll give the dressing some more tests.
Thanks. I know he was there. How about this for a theory? My bloke was sitting in the front passenger seat, the windscreen smashes, his hand is cut, so he wraps a scarf or something around it.
It would account for there being so little blood in the car. But can you prove that it was him?
I know, he says he was home that night. Cut himself putting up a shelf.
Well, that could be true as well. I can only give you pointers. Putting a case together is up to you.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Eddie's here in the waiting room.
OK, let's see him. Hello, Eddie. Nice of you to come.
Nice of me to come? I was told to come, I'd no choice.
Well, this won't take long. You know where I've been?
No.
The forensic lab, about your clothes and that car.
Yeah?
It doesn't worry you. How about this then? There were blood stains on your clothes, blood stains in the car, and it was the same blood.
Tell me more.
All right. There were glass splinters in your trousers and your shoes, and it was the same glass as the car.
So, you going to caution me?
There are some questions I still want to ask.
Oh, yeah. That means you got nothing. If you had anything, you would have cautioned me, or you're breaking the law. So go on, try it.
There are still a few things to clear up, Eddie.
Let's hear 'em.
Who was driving?
How should I know?
You were sitting next to the driver. That surprised you, didn't it? We know a lot more than you think.
If you did, we wouldn't be here.
You were sitting next to the driver. You got hurt. You wrapped something round your hand and ran for the hospital. And your friends ran off and left you, Eddie.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you know how much they got away with? Tully, read the file. Tell him.
Wages from the factory job, £84,000.
I bet they didn't tell you the full amount, Eddie. You weren't there when it was counted. You were always unlucky.
I'll leave it out, will ya?
I'm trying to help you, Eddie. I'm reading your file. Always the unlucky one, weren't you? On your first conviction, you and your mate were both caught. On the second, you were caught and your mate got away. But you were loyal, not a word. Did bird on your own. Now, third conviction. There were 3 of you on that blag. 2 got clear, but you left a print. You were loyal again. Good old Eddie, protecting his pals, in the dock, all by himself.
It's a load of cobblers.
Now, Eddie, facts from the file. Twice you've been good old Eddie. This time, 4 of you on the job. Crash, they all run away. Who gets caught? Eddie. As I said, you're unlucky.
Stuff it, Mr. Brook.
Tully, get a PC to keep Eddie company while we visit his friends and chat to them about the robbery and tell them how much Eddie is helping us with our inquiries.
Hey, wait up.
Yes, Eddie, what?
You think you can drop me in it?
That's right.
You're a bastard. But it won't work. Nobody'll believe you.
We'll see.
Right. So bring me up to date, Dave.
Eddie Dean's still bluffing it out, sir.
Do we have enough to hold him?
For a few hours, but while we still have him, sir, I'd like to have a go at his pals. Show them they're not out of it yet. I want warrants to search and do it while they know that Eddie is here helping us.
And if you draw a blank?
We'll let Eddie go and see what he does.
What do you need?
2 more DCs and 3 search warrants. We'll do Harvey and Wright first and then go on to Keller. I'll lead the search.
Right.
Mr. Keller.
Yeah? Who are you?
Come off it, Joe. Who do you think? Police. We're coming in.
You're bloody not.
I have a warrant to search your premises. Here.
Okay. You better come in.
All right, Tully, Knowles, Murphy, a good going over.
For what?
You read the warrant.
Just tell me, eh?
That car crash on Thursday morning, we saw you running away, carrying a heavy bag. You and Harvey, one each.
We had all this out of the club that night. I was never there. I got 4 witnesses.
That was Thursday morning, Joe, but we've got Eddie Dean with us now.
What's that supposed to mean?
He's helping us with our inquiries.
Look, if Eddie Dean was on a blag, that's his affair, but this has nothing to do with me. I was in the club playing cards. You saw me.
Yeah, and I saw you running away from the car.
You thought you did.
Eddie got hurt. You ran off and left him.
That's what he's saying.
He had to go to hospital. None of you took him there. You left him.
Lay off. Eddie's a friend, but it's nothing to do with me. What he was up to is his own business.
That's what Alan said.
Alan?
Alan Wright and Harvey, your pals. We've seen them both. They weren't as hard on Eddie as you are. So why don't you cooperate with us?
We've been all over the place, Sarge. There's nothing here.
Well, that proves it then.
Yes, Sarge.
Proves what?
Eddie thinks that you got rid of the cash, that you were going to cheat him.
You're full of it, ain't you? Right up to here, mate. You found nothing, so you can prove nothing. Now get out!
See you later, Joe. That's it, Eddie. You can go.
And about time. Satisfied then?
No, and I don't think you will be either. We saw your friends turn them over. The money's gone.
What money?
You know, Eddie. The 84,000 quid. Constable, see our friends off the premises, will you?
Goodbye, Sergeant. Hope you find what you're looking for.
Get out, Eddie.
We let him go?
We can't hold him. But Knowles and Murphy are in the street. They'll see if he gets in touch with his mates.
Oh, Tully.
Yes, Sergeant.
Call for you. Said his name was Steve. He has something. Says he'll be waiting in the same place. Does it make sense?
Oh, yes, Sergeant.
What's this then?
Steve Gray thinks he has something about the houses on the park.
Oh, yeah. The commander's looking for some results there. Might do you a bit of good. Save me a bit of trouble.
Right. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Right. How's it going, Jim?
All go, Dave. Nothing but paperwork and more paperwork.
Roach keeping you at it then, is he?
You can say that again.
You look as though you need a drink. You fancy a pint?
Give me a couple of minutes and we'll have one.
Sure.
That was quick, Mr. Tully. The bloke who answered said you was out.
So what have you got?
Yeah, well, remember I said you wouldn't believe it if I come up with a name for those house break-ins up by the park?
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm sure now, and you won't. It's Harry Reid.
Harry Reid.
Oh, yeah, of course, Mr. Tully. No disrespect, but you wouldn't remember. It was before your time. He's been in 5 years.
And should I know him?
Well, it's ain't the best housebreaker in the south of England. All your alarms and electronic beams and gadgets, you name them, he can fix them. He just walks through them, takes what he wants.
Where can I find him?
Well, that's it, innit? When you go back, look it up, you'll find he's in Lewis with 8 months still to do.
Your housebreaker is in Lewis with 8 months still to go. What is this, Steve? A put on?
No, listen, Mr. Tully, here's the point. I know he isn't in jail. He was let out on compassionate a week ago. He ain't gone back yet.
On compassionate leave?
Yes, his wife, she's poorly. He's due out soon. He's on his resettlement bit at the moment.
Let's get this straight, Steve. You're saying he didn't go back?
No, he should have checked back last Monday, but he didn't. He didn't go back to his wife's house either, because that's where they looked for him, down in Watford.
Oh?
Well, she's in a bad way, so he's been doing a few jobs to make sure she's not short of her ready until he comes up.
He's taking a chance, isn't he?
Nah, you tell him he's worried about his wife, went on a bender, forgot where he was. You know, in a day or two he'll give himself up. You know, out of town somewhere, away from the Met and the jobs he's been doing. You'll see.
You know him then?
Sure, since I was a kid. He's a good bloke. He's all right, Harry.
And you'll give him away. That's nice.
Oh, skip, Mr. Tully. I'll be going back anyway. I've got to make a few bob.
And you know where he is?
Yeah. I'll tell you.
And Steve Gray told you this?
Yeah.
Then you better see Mr. Roach. It's more than just housebreaking, isn't it? He's wanted back in Lewis.
Yeah. Where are you off to?
I'm away to the lab. They've come up with something new. Do that one on your own, will you?
Right.
Come in. Ah, Tully, yeah?
I brought you the file on the house break-ins, sir. I have an informant who says he knows who's doing them.
Oh?
Yeah, he's a con named Harry Reid, serving time in Lewis, but was let out to visit his wife. Could you check, sir?
Harry Reid. Let me see the file. Yeah, that's from the style it could be. Who's your snout?
A young housebreaker who knows him says Reid is staying with a cousin, a lady named Mrs. Pierce. He leaves the house most nights after dark and then comes back about 3 a.m.
I'm only doing the big houses. Yeah, Tully, it is his style. It could be him. Do you have an address?
Yes, sir.
Leave it with me. I'll check with Lewis.
You've got something new, I believe, on the car crash.
It's not much, Sergeant, but it might just be what you need. We gave the dressing some more tests under the microscope and found some tiny glass particles, minute.
Yeah?
They must have worked their way out of the wound and onto the dressing. It's the same glass as the windscreen, so the first direct link with the car. Your suspect didn't cut himself at home.
So it happened in the car?
Yes.
Thanks a lot. You've been a great help.
Sergeant, can I have a word?
Yes, Knowles, what is it?
Well, I followed Eddie Dean with Murphy, like you said.
So, what happened?
Well, when he left here, he went straight home. But 10 minutes later, he came out and went to see Harvey. He was in Harvey's house about 20 minutes. And then they both came out and went to a pub, the Cross Keys, met Keller.
Keller? Was there any bother?
No, they just sat drinking and chatted, and they were there for about an hour.
No argument?
Nope. Harvey left first. He patted Eddie on the shoulder and they laughed about something. And then Eddie and Keller left and walked together to the corner of Pelham Street. And then the same thing. Pat on the shoulder, they laughed, and Eddie went home. I got your message and brought him in.
He's downstairs?
Yep.
Well, let's see if we can make him laugh on the other side of his face.
Okay, will you need me?
Yeah, Tully's busy. I want you to take some notes.
Oh, right.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Eddie.
What is it this time, Sergeant? I've got other things to do, you know.
Yeah, I know. Oh, you've been out with your mates.
Well, I had a drink with them. Anything wrong with that?
Setting you up for something, were they?
What are you talking about? We was just having a drink. You got nothing on me.
I've got bad news, Eddie. That caution you wanted. You're getting it now.
Hey?
Here it is. Edward Dean, you're not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so. And what you say may be put into writing and used in evidence. Do you wish to say anything?
Yeah, I do. What is all this about? What are you going to charge me with?
Eddie, we know what happened. We have enough for the charge. Who were the others? Come on, Eddie, I'm surprised at you. You don't want to take this one on your own, do you? Falling for it again, are you? I thought you'd know better by now.
What are you talking about?
The loyalty bit, a few pints, a few pats on the back, and a promise. Good old Eddie, he's been with the cops, hasn't said a word, dead loyal. We'll see him all right. When he comes out, show how we appreciate him. One of the lads. They laugh at you.
I don't have to listen to this.
And what do they offer, Eddie? They'll look after the missus, look after the kids while you're away. Does the missus like being looked after? A villain handing her money once a week? I mean, do the kids? Do you like it?
Shut it, will ya? All right, what you after?
Their names, a statement. Put them in the dock with you.
Well, that's your job, innit? Not mine.
It won't be 3 this time. It'll be 7 years, Eddie.
I'll leave it out, will ya?
OK, I'll leave it out for a while, Eddie. I'm going to give you 3 things to think about. Will the missus want you to go for the big sentence? What age will the kids be? Does it always have to be good old Eddie? Take your time. Think about it. Knowles will look after you.
Is this the house, Tully?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's see if anyone's at home. Mrs. Pearce?
Yes?
We're the police, Mrs. Pearce.
The police?
Yes, I'm Chief Inspector Roach. This is Detective Constable Tully.
Good evening, Ma'am.
We'd like to speak to Mr. Reed, Mr. Harry Reed.
Mr. Reed doesn't live here.
Ah, may we come in?
Yeah, come in.
I believe you and Mr. Reed are cousins, Mrs. Pearce.
Yeah, we are.
And we understand he's been staying with you.
No,
When did you last see your cousin?
really don't know. Look, you should be speaking to his wife.
Mrs. Pearce, to save you from getting deeper into trouble on his account, let me ask you, do you know that your cousin has been in prison?
Yeah.
And that he's been given compassionate leave to visit his wife?
Well, I knew she hadn't been well. I mean, how is she?
We're talking about Mr. Reed. He did not return to prison, and I understand he's been staying with you.
I told him he should have gone back.
Mrs. Pearce, I think there are some things you may not know, and I want to help you. You told him to go back?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said he hasn't got long to serve and it was all right. He had things to do.
What kind of things?
To look after his wife, provide for her.
Provide for her? How long has he been staying with you?
About 4 days.
Where is he now?
Look, he's not here.
Where is he?
Look, I don't know. He went out about half an hour ago, about 11 o'clock.
Mrs. Pearce, I think you've been put in a difficult position. A family affair. And for the moment, I'm going to believe what you say. Now, what time is he due back?
Look, I don't know. Perhaps 2 or 3 in the morning.
He's been out as late as this before, then?
Yeah.
When he gets back, does he bring anything with him?
Look, I'm in bed by then. I don't know.
Do you mind if we wait until he comes back?
Please, I just don't want to be here.
We won't disturb you. You can go to bed. DC Tully and I will look after it. Won't we, Tully?
Yes, sir.
How's it going, Knowles?
OK, Sergeant.
Well, Eddie, what have you decided?
Only one thing I can decide, isn't there?
You'll name your friends in a statement, then?
No.
You won't?
It ain't down to me, is it? They're my mates. Why should I do your dirty work for you?
So it's back to loyal old Eddie, is it?
It has to be.
If that's the way you want it, let's get it over. Take him to the charge room, Knowles.
Sir.
There's someone coming.
What time is it?
2:15, sir.
Morning, Harry.
What? Who are you?
We're police officers. Don't make any trouble, Harry. Just put the bag down. Let's have a talk.
Where's Beth?
Mrs. Pierce?
Yeah.
Asleep, I hope. Let's not wake her up.
No.
We've searched your room, Harry. We know what you've been up to. Will you come with us? Quietly.
Yeah. All right, I will.
How'd it go?
We got him coming back from a job, and there was other gear in his room.
You got all of it?
Enough. He'd fenced some of it. You know, I felt sorry for him. Sick wife, problems at home.
Yeah, well, they'll extend his sentence, won't they?
Yeah. How did it go with you?
Eddie? Oh, he wouldn't tell. Charged him on his own, as always. Good old Eddie.